everybody, welcome back inside the stash. So, as the title said, this is going to be a quick little video, sort of not so much a review, just a sort of covering of the day at the 27th Annual Tidewater Automotive Modelers Society Model Car and Truck Contest. This is a little show in Norfolk, Virginia. It's down in the Hampton Roads area, just outside of Virginia Beach. We were down this past weekend to look at some rental properties and things like that for our upcoming move, or my upcoming move, because I'll probably end up going down before everybody else because other people need to finish out their school year. But be that as it may, it was the same. Basically, the reason to go was to go to the model contest, and then, oh, hey, we'll look at some apartments on the side, but let's face it, it was really to go down there and deal with that type of thing, and the model show was the side part. So went out to it. It was at a VFW hall in Norfolk. Like I said, little show, probably maybe 125 entries total, a couple of classes. Didn't have anything in it, which was kind of interesting to see. It seems like this year's trend, because I've been to now uh, 5 model contests this year, 3 in the spring, and then 6 then. No, yeah, 6. 3 in the spring, 3 in the fall. We went to the Buckeye Scale Classic in Columbus. We went to the IPMS show here in Pittsburgh. Of course, we had our show here in Pittsburgh. And then in the fall, we went to Zanesville. We had the Pittsburgh show that's done by the other club here in the fall. And then we went to Norfolk this past weekend. And in those 6 shows, IPMS show excluded, I noticed that the trend this year was that the um, kids or lower junior, depending on how your contest would categorize children under the age of 13. Those contests, all 6 of those contests, really, including the IPMS show, if I remember right, had entries from children under the age of 13. Now that junior plus or teen or whatever your contest calls the age bracket, like above 13, above 15, wherever your club or local contest cuts the lower juniors and the upper juniors, or the teens and the juniors, however they describe it. Basically, people above, people who should know how to build a model kit, more or less, to being an adult. Uh, the kids, obviously, you're given a little bit of leeway there in terms of like what those models are really going to look like. You find that the kids, really young kids who build really nice models, they're because their dad builds really nice models, and not implying any sort of collusion, but just you're learning by example there. And it seemed like like I said, all 6 shows, there were no entries in that upper teen category, but all of them had entries in that lower teen to down category. So I'm not sure how exactly that bodes for the future, if you will. Kids are still involved in the hobby. Our teenagers are involved in the hobby. I don't know. That depends on what were those kids doing. We and my teenager included is involved in so many things in school and after school and things like that. It's kind of hard to even just have the time to build a model. It's not like, oh, they're on Twitter all the time and Instagram, damn phones. No, my kid's the executive drum major of the band. She's got a job. She's doing some currently scripting out a video project for the school's computer club. Got a lot of things going on, and even if she was somebody who took modeling, at more than building a couple of kits when she was 13, 14 years old, it's where do you find the time to do things? We push our kids to be in so many extracurricular activities and then complain when they don't take up our extracurricular activity. It doesn't really work that way. It was nice to see a lot of females involved this year, because really this was our last show of the year. It's November now. There's no more contests that I'm aware of anywhere nearby. I think there might be one more tiny little local contest that I found by accident. It might be this weekend coming, or next weekend. If it's next weekend, I can't go because I have other plans, but I have to go check and see what weekend it is. But at any rate, the contest season is over. It was good to see a lot of females involved. Not so many adults, but a lot of girls, a lot of kids getting involved. So that's a good thing. If the old grumpy old white people cannot chase all the young girls out of the hobby by being either creepy and or obnoxious. That would be great. The show we went to this past weekend down in Norfolk had a number of female builders involved. There is an IPMS club down in Norfolk as well, and they were in heavy attendance of the show. Not so much in military ways, but just they build cars. Hey, look at that. And so there's a lot of female builders there of all ages. There are a number of awards given out to them, so it's good to see again more people outside of cranky old white dudes getting involved with the hobby, especially on a competition level. Because now you're at not only you just in the hobby because oh well my husband makes me do this stupid thing so we can spend time together, but if you're contest building and class winning and things like that, you're obviously taking the hobby a little more seriously than this shuck guffaw thing that you do for your husband's YouTube channel or whatever. So that all being said, I said the show was a nice show. Picked up a couple of kits I'm going to show you here in a minute. A couple of out of production Tamiya DTM kits. No love for the foreign models as usual, but that's great because then I get to swoop in and pick them up cheap. We took the BMW Z4 down, the Roll Motorsports car, which is something I realized that I still have not done a build video for. So one of these days when I get a chance, I'll put that up there because it's pretty much done for its show career at this point. If I do move down to Virginia in advance of my family, I might take it up to the IPMS show in Richmond in February because obviously I'll be in Virginia, so Virginia shows are now my local shows. And then I know there's a couple of shows in what's known as Region 2, which is the I can't what they call that. It's like the Central East or something. So it's got a weird name like that. Basically, North Carolina and South Carolina, or North Carolina and Virginia state lines split two IPMS category or regions. Like Region 12 is Mid-Atlantic, which is North Carolina and South Carolina, and then the Central East is like Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Jersey, Pennsylvania, which is the eastern half of Pennsylvania, because we here in Western Pennsylvania are in Region 4, which is sort of Western Pennsylvania out through Ohio and stuff like that. I didn't draw the IPMS map, don't ask me. But at any rate, there are a couple of shows. There's a IPMS show in Fairfax, Virginia. There will be the Mid-Atlantic NNL. There are things that I could take the Z4 to next year if I am in Virginia that are shows that's never gone to before. But effectively, for any shows that I would normally go to, or if we don't move for whatever reason, its show career is pretty much done. Incoming call from work. Yeah, part of the reasons why we're moving. At any rate, again, it was a good show season. We picked up 2 seconds with the kit. It is curbside. I was putting it into full detail competition classes, so it's not exactly got the most stellar chance of winning, but I'm not a person who believes in category shopping, like going in and seeing what's in competition and what's in curbside or what's in box stock, and then basing my entry based on that. It's a competition close wheel, and that's where it goes. So it's good, it's always feels good. Now I don't do contests for validation sense, but always feels good when you can pick up a award in a full detail class with a out of the box curbside build, because that does prove the theory and that I've always held that a box stock model built cleanly and correctly, if you will, can compete with full detail models at a model contest. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else with that phone call. it's thrown me off because I just don't want to deal with work right this instant. But all right, so you got these when you entered a model car at this contest, it was $10. It was unlimited entries. It was kind of pricey for me for one kit, but if you were bringing like 10 or 5 or whatever, it wouldn't be so bad. But you did get this little suitable for putting on your dashboard dash plaque. That was kind of a nice treat, I guess. I kind of wonder how much these cost the club. There was, I guess, some concern. The gist I got was there's some concern about having a show next year. You see, this is 27th annual, so they've been doing it for a hot minute down there. And like how much do these plaques cost? Because you get it's not like it's any high quality. I could bend it in half if I wanted to. It's just a little piece of aluminum. But still, like how many of these do you get printed up? Because you didn't get one just for walking through the door. They didn't actually take general admission. There was a little shoebox that said donations that you stuck money into if you were just coming in to see the vendor area, which was John Betker, who's our Auto Models, which is my local hobby shop here in Pittsburgh, and guy who travels all over the country to shows. If you don't know the name, you probably recognize the face or the hugely large wall of model kits that he brings to sell. He's always at Canfield. He's always at like Detroit, Cleveland, all the Autoramas. Goes to like real car shows. Plus Detroit NNL. Toledo, I don't know if he did Toledo NNL, but he's at Buckeye. He's at the shows here in Pittsburgh. He was down there. That was very funny. I pulled into the parking lot. I came over probably about 11:30 because we went out to breakfast and just sort of hung around the beach a little bit before I went to the show. And I pulled in there and I saw a Pennsylvania tagged pickup truck pulling a travel trailer, and I went, you know what? I bet you that's John's truck. And it was. So I said, if the club is concerned about like venue costs and putting the show on, this is a nice extra. It's a dash. They call it a dash block. I'm pretty sure it really is adhesive, but I don't know how many people are really going to stick this on the dashboard of anything. It's like I said, it's a cool little piece. I mean, I don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh, look at this ugly piece of trash, but value proposition wise, like how many of these did they get stamped made off, and then how many of them did they give out? It seemed like they had a pretty good thick stack of them left when I entered, and I entered like an hour and 10 minutes before contest entries closed, and I'm pretty sure nobody entered anything after me. So, it is what it is. Vendor area wise, it was a very small show. Betker took up one whole wall, and then there were probably maybe 10 more tables total. So it was not a place to necessarily go go shopping, as it were. Like if you don't have John Betker as your local show and local vendor guy, I imagine seeing all that was quite overwhelming. But as somebody who goes to his own shop on a regular basis and sees him at every local show and all that kind of thing, it's kind of old hat. There wasn't anything I was going to buy off of him. So 2 kits we grabbed were the this Opel Astra V8 DTM kit. You guys who watch this channel all the time may realize I already have one of these, but if you recall, the one that I bought at the Buckeye Scale Classic Show back in the spring came with a set of decals to do the Jägermeister car. And so I needed a second one, basically, to either do the Jägermeister car or do this car, because this car, and you can't really see it in the video very well, but this is a German language Nicolas Cage Gone in 60 Seconds movie poster. That was part of who sponsored this car for at least the race that this car represents. So I don't care what you say, I have to build the German language Gone in 60 Seconds car, and so I needed a second one of them. And then the other kit we picked up was this one. It is the Mercedes-Benz CLK DTM 2000 car. Basically, this is the other car that goes along with those Opel Astras that they did for the 2000 series. I did not have the D2 version with all the little D2s. I'm going to go look up what the pictures of this car look like, because the decals look good. They look almost brand new for this being a kit that was made back in 2001. But they're not white. They're more of this sort of beigeish color that the decals become back here. If you look at the picture of the actual car, like on the actual instruction sheet, they're also beige on that as well. And it's kind of hard to tell with this picture on the side of the car. Get a little bit closer to the camera there. That what color they really are. If they're sort of a white, if they're sort of a sort of a beigeish color, because like on the side of the box here, you see, they don't really look white, like bright white. They're not bright white like the Bosch and the Arco windshield headers. They're more of a beigeish, off steel silver color. They're basically just a little bit off the color of the car. So I don't know that I would actually, the decals look good. They're again much like the DTM car we talked about from the 1994 season. These are all great big sheets of decals, big chunks of clear coat and stuff like that. And do I really want to deal with that? If I do redraw all these D2s, then it comes to the question of what color are they supposed to be. So a little research needs to be done there before I make any sort of commitments to it. I paid $20 each for those. I wasn't even going to debate and argue, because that's less than those kits cost new back in 2001. So that was a nice pickup. Again, I needed another Opel, and I didn't have the Mercedes, and that was the only one of those 2000 Mercedes DTM kits I was missing. Mainly because finding one with good decals was kind of a problem. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. And so for the let's see, we were in class 17, the competition closed wheel 1981 and up. We picked up the second place. So that is where that kit has finished this year. And so, you know, I don't feel bad about it. That, to me, that means the judging was a little less subjective this year. I mean, it either didn't place at all because it was, you know, way outclassed for its category with all the full detail things that were going on in certain competition closed wheel, things didn't break out by year or didn't break out by having a separate NASCAR category from closed wheels. I mean, personally, for me, I kind of prefer it that way, and I kind of think the NASCAR guys would too, because how many NASCAR kits have lost to that Group 5 style Oldsmobile Cutlass kit that the guy in Ohio built this year? It's, you know, a really nice NASCAR built. I think I just got jettisoned all right off the table, so to speak, by that completely and totally scratch built Oldsmobile Cutlass kit. So, yeah, as I say, the judgment was less subjective. You look at the McLaren, like the McLaren was all over the place. It picked up a third, it picked up a second, it won its class, it didn't place at all. And so either not placing at all or finishing second, to me, judging was a little less subjective this year, a little more objective, if you will. So anyway, guys, that wraps up this video. Like I said, just a quick show. I would reattend, although this will probably become my local club, so attending will be mandatory, and I won't be entering anything, obviously. Oop, that's the last thing you wanted to hear was that was that alarm to go to work right below the camera microphone. Sorry, guys. Any rate, wrap that one up. I think that's a good place to stop right there. The alarm is saying cut the video, so we'll see you guys on the other side.